Alrighty, welcome back to episode whatever of Soul of the Skull. This is post week 4 of the 2023 NFL season. Vikings pulled off their first win of the season against the Carolina Panthers. So the Vikings are now 1-3 going into their game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's review the Panthers game really quick. I think Madison played pretty well. Cam Akers really stepped up. He had a good amount of touches, and he played really well. Kirk Cousins didn't have his best game, threw a 99-yard pick six, one of 2 picks that he threw on the day. Jefferson caught 2 touchdowns, could have had 3, but got called back from a Josh Oliver hold. Other than that, the defense played really well, didn't allow a touchdown. Granted, it's against the Panthers, so, take it with a grain of salt. But, yeah, any thoughts on the games, guys?
Yeah, I got one here. Now, I got to give the Vikings credit. The run game was a lot better than it had been previous weeks. They had 135 rushing yards, which was actually more than they had passing yards. They only had 130 passing yards. But I do got to look at a stat here. The Vikings had 44 total plays to the Panthers' 68. They ran the clock down with all those run plays so much. I mean, if you look at it, I was looking at kind of other games. The Vikings game was at the 2-minute warning when I believe – I can't remember exactly what game it was, but they were still in the third quarter. And the game went by super fast. I think that is due to a lot of the rushing they had, but that's just crazy how the Vikings only had 44 total plays.
We got to shout out DJ Waddle. Nice scoop and score he had. Turn on the Jets. Harrison Smith was all over the place. Exactly what your veteran leader needs to do. I'm the biggest Kirk lover out there. I'm going to self-proclaim myself that, but I can admit he didn't have a great game. That was a terrible interception for that pick six. The second one, the line kind of failed him. He had to get the ball out a little quicker. I mean, it was still a nice little pop-up. He was teaching Carolina how to catch a fair punt almost. But, I mean, defense was good, and as Sam said, it is Carolina. Bryce Young didn't wow me. Adam Thielen looked nice, which is always good to see as a Viking fan. But we got bigger fish to fry or catch. I'm not good at analogies, but the Chiefs are coming into town, and they're going to bring an entourage. And we got to be ready to stop Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Thanks, Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy played decently against the Panthers. He was locked up with Adam Thielen a good portion of the time. So, Thielen's got that veteran taste. He's been playing for a long time, so he really understands the game a lot better than some rookies might. So Thielen's a pretty hard guy to cover, even as a good corner like Byron Murphy is. A Caleb Evans was basically invisible out there again. So it's not what you really love to see from your young players. But then again, he is young, needs some more time to develop maybe. But, I mean, I think he's in his second year now. He's got to step it up a little bit. He's a starter on our team. He's got to, be better than at least Dantzler was, right?
You got to grow up quick.
Yeah. And I think Byron Murphy is also going to need to be able to step up a little bit more and outplay where Patrick Peterson was last year. Another good thing about the defense, Cam Bynum played really well, surprisingly. This is one of his better games. I think he had 7-ish tackles. So, and he was laying down some licks on some guys. So that was really good to see.
Yeah, and with your defense thing, stats here, the Vikings had 5 sacks, which is very good for the Vikings. And I think Brian Flores' scheme finally somewhat worked there. And the players who were blitzing actually got to the quarterback and wrapped up and made tackles, not just flew by and kind of burned by them. And they made some of those more plays. because in previous weeks you see we're getting pressure there, but they're always like missing a tackle or getting too far upfield. And I think we did a way better job of that this week than we had previous weeks.
I think on the Monday night broadcast, it was the Vikings have blitzed the most out of anyone in the NFL.
I believe 55% is what I saw.
They want to bring pressure and get to the quarterback, but then you see what the Chargers did, and you just get the ball out quickly to your playmakers, and that'll counter it. So it's a fine line of, okay, we got to get pressure, then we also have to cover. And Marcus Davenport being back, he made a big impact clogging up the lanes, and he's going to have to do that again. He's got to channel his inner Chris Jones. We want to stop whatever Kansas City's cooking. They're not going to – Isaiah Pacheco had a very good game, so he's a very physical runner. He can run up between the tackles, so you got to clog those lanes.
Yeah. One thing, too, I do got to say, I think the Vikings could do way better on is third downs. They were 1 for 8 on third downs, and that's just not a good stat. They had 14 first downs, but compared to the Panthers, 20 first downs. And even time of possession here, Panthers had the ball for 38 minutes, 29 seconds. Vikings had the ball for 21 minutes and 31 seconds. That's one thing that Vikings can do a way better job at, I think, is controlling the clock there. Just like the time of possession, the Vikings don't have the ball very much. So it's, you're giving your opponent much more time to run down the field and score.
Alrighty, if we don't have anything else to say about that, I say we move on to the Vikings and Chiefs game.
I actually got one more thing before we head on.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
The Vikings this year, penalties-wise, have been, in my opinion, they've been doing better than last year. And this game, they were 7 penalties for 37 yards, which I think is weird. That's about just over 5 yards of penalty, which is weird.
We got called for a lot of holding penalties, which was really unfortunate. The one Jefferson touchdown, we had 9 players blocking. Jefferson running a route, he was ISO'd up with, I don't remember which player it was. And Josh Oliver still held somebody. So it's pretty frustrating that we have so many holding penalties. I believe we might have had a pass interference in there as well. Nonetheless, the penalties need to definitely be controlled a little bit better because those are controllable penalties.
Well, yeah, but we only gave up 30. According to this, we only gave up 37 yards in penalties, which I think isn't too bad. The Panthers, they gave up 80 yards over 6 penalties, which is double. But that is one thing the Vikings can clean up. And they did better to start the season, I thought. And now they're kind of slacking back on that. But they also won. So, yeah. I have nothing else.
All right. Speaking of penalties, did either of you happen to watch the Chiefs-Jets game or any of the highlights?
I did watch the game. I did see the... No, you're good. I saw the 3rd and 22 holding, and I know Sauce Gardner had some complaints. It does bring a question, And then the NFL Instagram comes into play and saying you're 2-0 with Swifties, so not really going to get the fans interested or want to root for the Chiefs anytime soon.
I think since Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have started dating, the Chiefs have become a top 5 hated team in the NFL simply because of the Swifties that are now liking football.
I think they may rival the Dallas Cowboys for most hated right now.
I don't know. I still hate Dallas more. But if you were to tell me why the Chiefs were hated wasn't because of Brittany Mahomes or Jackson Mahomes, you shocked me there. It's not one of those two is the reason. So,
I mean, they're also kind of Patrick Mahomes also kind of getting to that point, kind of like where Tom Brady was, where it's kind of hated because they're getting like really good.
Well, that and he's being protected severely by the refs. I don't know if you saw this, but on Patrick Mahomes' 3rd interception that he threw, it was definitely a holding, on Sauce Gardner, but the interception happened about 2 seconds after the ball was, or after the holding, and the ref threw the flag after the interception. So that does bring into question a little bit. Why didn't you throw the flag right away when you saw the holding? Why throw it after the interception, So that's 3-4 seconds after the holding that he throws the flag. That's a considerable time amount in the game of football. The average play is like six seconds, I believe. So that's pretty considerable. I'm really hoping that the Vikings can play a clean game.
I'm not sure what you said there, Sam. You cut out.
Oh, I was saying I'm really hoping that the Vikings are able to play a clean game so that we can avoid, getting 35 penalties like the Jets did.
Absolutely. And, I wonder what, like, the average time, if you look at stats here, I don't know if anyone ever has the stats, but I wonder what the average time is between when, like, the penalty occurs and the flags are thrown. I feel like it'd be pretty short, like maybe a second or less. And you think that 4-second gap there might be concerning. So, yeah, I just hope the Vikings can avoid all the penalties. And I'm sure there'll be some BS ones thrown in there, like there may be, but overall, we should avoid those penalties if all possible.
I mean, watching on TV, the flags seem to come in bang bang. You see an instant hold, and you see a flag being thrown. Sometimes the only issue that you can get is that officials having a tough time getting that yellow flag out of their waistband. That could be the only time, but that clearly did not happen, and they want to protect their Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes. I hope the Vikings put an end to this and we become the new villains because we finally beat Taylor Swift.
So I know we're not doing a prediction section this week, but we're doing some predictions among ourselves. And one of my predictions is that Travis Kelce is not going to score against the Vikings.
Even after what Byron Murphy said?
Even after what Byron Murphy said. I think that the Vikings are going to be pretty well matched up against him because who else is Mahomes going to throw to?
You got a point there, but we're also going to have to do better against the run game. I mean, I was looking at stats here. The Chiefs only average about 100 yards per game. And, that's not too bad. And they average, let me pull it.
100
they average about
a game?
137 yards rushing a game versus the Vikings, 83. But their passing is lower. I think part of that being they don't have like a Tyreek Hill on their team anymore. They really only have that Travis Kelce and then some other mid receivers. But I think that's one thing the Vikings will definitely have to do is stop the run.
Matt, what's that face for?
This is a Kadarius Toney breakout game.
Okay, but
calling Kadarius Toney mid is crazy.
At the same time, Kadarius Toney is the first NFL player born without hands.
Shaquem Griffin?
Okay, first wide receiver born without hands. You got to be honest. The guy sucks. He can't catch a ball to save his life.
First round pick, come out of the Giants, who don't have a good quarterback anyway. So you're finally playing with a real quarterback who throws a little bit of velocity, and there's a lot of spotlight on you to be the wide receiver one.
Last year they at least had Juju Smith-Schuster, which, while somewhat washed, he still can be a true wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I believe their wide receiver one, if not Kadarius Toney, is Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
He's been good.
Who has been decent through 4 games. He was, I believe, the number 2 or 3 receiver when he was with the Packers. I think 2 maybe to Devontae Adams, but the Chiefs, they don't have, yes, they have the best quarterback and best tight end in football. But at the same time, their passing game isn't very strong because Travis Kelce can't catch the ball every single play. Well, Keenan Allen kind of proved that theory wrong, but Travis Kelce probably will not catch, 18 passes against the Vikings.
We'll have to watch. I mean, it happened once.
What's his face on the Chargers will get 18 receptions. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Keenan Allen. That's who we were just talking about.
Oh, but I kind of just blanked out there.
I mean, I just really hope it's a good game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll go over that in the game picks. I was gonna ask if you guys had a thought on a winner here, but I think we'll probably be unanimous in this one.
I don't know about that. I don't think it'll be a difficult one.
Big Lou says I don't know about that.
I did look back. I do remember preseason. Big Lou here said the Vikings would win.
Oh boy!
So I don't know if that pick still stands or.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say about my predictions, Big Lou?
Well, I was gonna say talk about your preseason predictions. You said Vikings go.
Jefferson trade.
Justin Fields Madden cover.
Jefferson trade is so much worse than that.
I don't know what that's him.
Jefferson trade is so much worse than that.
Where's his contract extension then?
Why would the Vikings trade the best player in football?
To get a franchise quarterback?
They can get one if they suck this year.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good quarterbacks. You could get one, yeah. Imagine Jefferson's demand is he'll stay if Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. That's his demand. His demand.
Well, then we're re-signing Kirk.
Oh yeah, Kirk.
Well, yeah. Then we draft probably a quarterback first round to have him go behind Kirk for a year and then start.
So currently, it sounds like Caleb Williams is refusing to go to 27 teams.
Yep.
There's 5 teams that he's listed that he'd like to go to, and the
Vikings. Yeah,
one's the Vikings.
1.
Well, that's because he wants to play with Jefferson.
Well, also Jordan Addison, college teammate. They had a nice connection at USC.
So I think Caleb Williams, even not necessarily tanking for him, but possibly getting a pretty bad season, right? And then eventually we get a low pick. We can trade with the Bears because they're going to have the number 1 pick. So we can trade with the Bears to get their number 1 pick. I mean, I think it makes too much sense. Whoa. They're going to need a veteran quarterback anyways,
I don't know about trading up because if a quarterback is threatening to not play, you're seeing an Eli Manning type situation. Why would the Vikings want to trade up knowing that if the Bears end up drafting him, he's just going to sit?
That's very true, but at the same time, let's say the Vikings get, pick number 9, pick number 10. What if one of those other teams that he said that he'd like to go to is ahead of us, So there's a bit of a dilemma there. I mean, I think the Vikings are probably going to have to trade up in the draft no matter what.
It also depends on where he's ranked amongst the other quarterbacks and, what the positional needs is, for different teams. Because, the Bears, they don't necessarily need a new quarterback. I mean, they have Fields. They probably could use a new quarterback, but.
Okay, I'm gonna help you out here. Caleb Williams is the best quarterback coming out of college since basically Andrew Luck. Oh. That is the overall consensus. I think he'll go back-to-back Heisman winners. So he is by far the number 1 quarterback coming out of this draft. Shedeur Sanders apparently isn't coming out. Dion said his son stayed in college, which, how much can we really trust? I could trust Dion, but the rumblings about Caleb Williams, how do we know what he's really thinking?
I think Caleb Williams, it's 50-50 for me right now because currently he's making more money in college from his NIL deals than he would be making in the NFL anyways. So, it's almost a no-brainer. You make more money, you get a degree to fall back on if you get injured or whatever. You get to play another season of college football. Possibly, I don't know how he could possibly do this, but he could increase his draft stock. So like I said, I don't know how he could possibly do that, but you never know. So I think staying in college would be the right move for Caleb Williams, but you never really know because he might think, oh, maybe I'll just go to the NFL, start my career early, get a little ahead. The Vikings are bad this year. Maybe they'll want me. So
And people were telling Trevor Lawrence to do that exact same thing when Jacksonville owned the number 1 pick, and in year 3 they're contenders. So I mean, things can obviously change. You got to have the right management in place, and you got to put the pieces together.
Yeah, really, if you get next year, if you draft that quarterback, they're going to want the protection, though. They're not going to want to be hit as Kirk Cousins is. So then you got to also develop that O-line to give them the protection, because I don't know how durable any of those quarterbacks are going to be. I don't think they're going to be no Kirk Cousins durable, but yeah.
I got nothing else. If we're trying to keep it under 30 minutes, let's run through these game picks.
All right, sounds good. Let's move it on to the game picks. I will share my screen. Bada bing, bada boom. All righty. So I'll just do a really quick recap on week 4. Out of the 4 of us that picked, I did the best. I only got 3 picks wrong, so I was 13 for 16. And Matt, unfortunately, did not do so great. He went 8 for 16.
I really thought New England had it in them.
No. Mac Jones is terrible.
I got nothing. I got nothing there. That was bad.
So, yeah. So there we go. So moving on to
you want to show the overall records?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Right there.
So far, I am leading the crew with 42 correct games. Joel is second with 40. Big Lou is third with 38. And Matt is last with 18. However, Matt did not do picks for the first 2 weeks.
So we'll mainly go by percentages.
Yeah, so I'm currently the leading percentage with Joel at second, Big Lou third, and Matt in last.
How I like it, an underdog.
All righty.
He'll have the number 1 draft pick next year.
No.
For whatever we do.
I'm already tanking for predictions. I love it.
All right. I am going to remove 1 row at a time to see what we all think. Week 1, we all got Washington over the Bears. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. The Bears suck, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We agree.
2-15 season, you think, this year?
Who are the 2 wins coming against? 1 Vikings?
Oh,
no.
God. Maybe.
Some upset team, maybe. I don't know.
They beat the Eagles. They beat the Eagles and the Niners, and they lose to every other team.
No, they'll beat the Eagles and the Lions. No, they'll sweep the Lions. That's what they'll do.
Sweep the Lions. Oh, great. That sounds like it'll happen.
Oh, Dan Campbell might. Oh, I feel bad. Dan Campbell will cry.
I'd be pretty upset. All right. Moving on to game 2, Jags and Bills in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We all got Buffalo over the Jags. The Jags are a good team. Buffalo's better, obviously.
Yeah, Buffalo put up some really good numbers last week and to beat the Dolphins. And
yes, they sure did. Speaking of the Dolphins, they play the Giants this week. And again, we are unanimous. We got the Dolphins beating the Giants, who are arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL so far. Daniel Jones has as many pick sixes as he has touchdown passes this year, which is pretty miserable for Giants fans.
And the fact, 11 sacks last game?
Okay. Yep. That's not all on Daniel Jones, though.
No, but their offensive line rivals the Vikings offensive line, how bad they suck.
That's true. Evan Neal blocked his own teammate and caused an interception, so that was good.
That clip was good.
All right, moving on to the Lions and Panthers. We all have Detroit winning this game.
Sorry it's so boring. I hope somewhere we differ.
Going on to the Ravens and Steelers, we might differ on this one. AFC North matchup, and we all have the Ravens.
No, don't differ.
All right.
I mean,
Falcons.
Hold on.
I think a lot of these are kind of like a good team facing a bad team, though. So it's kind of like all of these should hit. And if they don't, it'll be a shock to most of the NFL.
I guarantee you one of those 5 are not going to hit.
Oh, at least one.
At this rate, yeah.
You know, I think the one most likely not to hit. You guys want to hear my thought on this?
The
Sure.
Jags.
Bears.
Those Commanders. I think that's the least
I could
likely.
see it.
Yeah,
I
I
see
could
it.
definitely see the Bears pulling something off.
So
And
maybe
then
that's where
losing
one of the Bears wins come from this year. So
Could be.
Yeah, you never know.
all right, moving on. We got Texans and Falcons. Both are surprisingly good-ish teams. They're not as awful as they were last year. They're not great. And it looks like, Joel is going to take Atlanta in this one, and the rest of us will take C.J. Stroud and the Texans. C.J. Stroud, one of 3 starting quarterbacks this year that has not thrown an interception this year, and he leads those 3 in touchdown passes with 6. So he's legit.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Saints and Patriots, and we are divided again. So Big Lou is going to take New England in this, and the rest of us will take New Orleans.
I'm not making the same mistake twice. They got to prove it to me that I should be picking them.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll come. I mean, I think they're fairly even teams, but I think Bill Belichick will come up with something to get another win. So he's starting out 1-3. He's smart enough to coach to, I think, figure out something to get that second win.
Bill without Tom Brady is just Matt Canada. Let's be honest. I mean, the Patriots are just terrible.
They're not wrong. They lost Christian Gonzalez, but they bring back J.C. Jackson. So
which is good for them. Very good. All right, moving on to the Titans and the Colts. I can see this one being divided, and it is going to see Big Lou is going to take Indianapolis. Moving on to Eagles Rams, I'm going to assume another unanimous, and yep, we are. Hilly all across the board.
I have a feeling that one could have a good upside potential. Yeah.
I can see it. Maybe.
The Rams are looking pretty good.
That and Cooper Kupp is now off IR, so
yeah.
If you have Nakua on your fantasy team, you might want to rethink starting him or maybe move him to a flex.
He'll definitely be a wide receiver too. I think the Tutu Atwell days are done.
I think you are definitely right.
Absolutely, but yeah, that'll be a good combo. To have both those weapons to throw through will definitely be good. That's like a Jefferson Thielen combo.
Well, I wouldn't quite go that far.
I want to throw Thielen into the picture.
I also wouldn't compare Cooper Kupp to Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson is much, much better than Kupp.
But it's kind of the same concept. You got 2 weapons to throw to.
I would say, I understand the concept, maybe not the comparison.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next week, we got Bengals and Cardinals, probably going to be unanimous. And yep, it is again.
Cincinnati might still drop that, though. Burrow's doing absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, Burrow's been choking pretty hard. So he chokes worse than Kirk Cousins in prime time. So,
I mean, Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. He's got that. So he's already better than Kirk.
That's true.
I wouldn't call him a choker quite yet.
Well, okay.
Well, that Super Bowl was actually a choke.
They choked that pretty hard. All right, moving on. We got Jets and Broncos. 3 of us have the Jets, and Matt is going to take Russell Wilson and the Broncos in that one. Matt, please your choice to us.
I mean, Zach Wilson finally played well last game. Denver won, and Champagne, I think, he's had a lot of fighting words going towards New York, so I think he wants to back that up.
Interesting pick you got there. All right.
It's going to end bad. It's going to be that New England Dallas pick all over again.
Yep. All right, Chiefs and Vikings, and I swear to God, if anyone took the Vikings in this one,
it's Kirk
Big Lou.
Kirktober.
19-0 in October.
It's Kirktober.
It is Kirktober. He did throw 2 picks. So that wasn't really Kirktober-esque. Again, the win was a Kirktober move.
Well, I mean, they won, though. So
exactly. And that's what happens.
They won. In Kirktober, what I think I saw, overall record 15-5 in October for Kirk or something.
It could be. I thought it was 19-0.
Oh, It could be maybe, but yeah, Kirktober. He's going to beat the
Alright.
Chiefs.
If you say so. This is another game that could be divided. The 49ers and the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and we are not divided. No. We're all taking the Niners.
I don't think the Cowboys can handle the 49ers.
The Cowboys Broad Boys.
Cowboys offense isn't where San Francisco is. They're a more complete team.
Not even close.
I'd say Niners is probably the most complete team in the NFL.
Them and the Eagles.
I believe the Niners play the Eagles at some point this season, and honestly, I don't know who's going to win that game. That's still a toss-up for me.
NFC Championship preview right there.
Yeah.
Right now, I would probably say the Niners over the Eagles, because it looks like the Eagles are sometimes struggling at some points in the game, and I guess I haven't watched the Niners game, but
well, this is the second year in a row the Eagles struggled against the Commanders. I mean, they lost to the Commanders, breaking their undefeated streak last year, and they had to go into overtime to beat them this year. So, you know, you never know with the Niners. Christian McCaffrey is legit. Brandon Ayuk is legit. Brock Purdy is becoming legit. It's a great team. Their defense is probably the best, maybe second best to only the Eagles in the entire NFL. So,
in an NFL scripted moment, Trey Lance comes in for the injured Dak Prescott and leads the win in San Francisco.
Oh, God.
That would be a crazy story.
NFL scripted moment right there for sure.
Honestly, if that hits, I'd be willing to give Matt the win there, like the point there for getting that.
Yeah, honestly, if that hits, Matt, you can have the win for this game. If
that exact scenario happens where Dak gets hurt, Trey Lance picks up and wins, we'll give you the point for that.
The only thing that will suck is when it does happen, and I'll be on my couch screaming, "Oh my God, Trey Lance is coming in!" They put in Cooper Rush. It's like, darn it.
All right, and for the final game of the week, we got Packers and Raiders on Monday Night Football. And we are 50-50 on this one. All right. Well, I got the Raiders. You two got Green Bay. And Joel also has the Raiders on this one. So we have almost the exact same picks across the board. This is going to be an interesting week, boys. Very
absolutely.
Big Lou, I want whatever you're smoking if you're thinking Minnesota's going to beat the Chiefs. Because I want some of that.
It's a Kirktober, man.
It's a great feeling.
Come to Wisconsin here.
I might have to if they pull it off.
All right, boys. Do we need to see anything else on the podcast spreadsheet here?
Nope.
All right. Stop sharing. All righty. Well, what are we thinking, boys?
I'm thinking we got nothing else to talk about today.
I don't want to see Taylor Swift on my TV screen.
Okay.
Fair point.
Matt, I'm going to give you this as a prediction, okay? And if it doesn't hit, it doesn't count against you, okay?
Okay.
Taylor Swift appears on the Vikings game over or under 13.5 times.
It's funny, my prediction, well, I know we did predictions for giggles. My prediction was Taylor Swift be shown over 5 times. But even 5 just seems way too low, to be honest with you. I didn't think, if you think about it, the fans are not happy. They saw the viewership went down. They lost about 4 million viewers than expected from the Chicago game to the New York Jets game. So maybe they're figuring out, like, hey, this may not be what the fans want to see. We show her once or twice, and we say screw it. But who knows?
Although, you guys see what the first commercial was on the Jets and Chiefs game?
I'm going to go on a limb. It was for her movie.
It was for her movie.
Yeah, because
Taylor Swift has a movie?
She has a movie. I don't even remember what it's called, but
it's for her tour. It's for her tour.
Good Lord.
And I saw a video. They played it in the stadium, and everyone booed it.
Yeah,
they cheered for Daniel Jones. So I don't really know how happy you can be as a Giant fan.
I saw someone keep a counter on based on how many times they showed Taylor Swift compared to how many times they showed Aaron Rodgers. I believe it was 13-5 in favor of Taylor Swift at the end.
Hey, my number was like really close. I hadn't even heard of that before.
Yep. But I mean, maybe Taylor Swift will be at the Vikings game, but
I haven't heard the report.
I
but
bet you will. Yeah.
It's something that I need to keep sanity. I need Adam Schefter to tweet it out soon. I'm on the edge of my seat if she's going to be there or not.
Adam Schefter.
Give us as fans what we need to know.
That rap sheet.
All I think of Adam Schefter. Just
imagine Taylor Swift. Imagine Taylor Swift's not there. The Vikings lock down Travis Kelce and the Chiefs lose.
Oh my gosh! Then the NFL narrative is, oh, Taylor Swift
Travis
is
Kelce
the
gets 3
Chiefs.
receptions for 8 yards.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's the good luck charm for the
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes actually plays well.
Kadarius Toney actually does go off.
Patrick Mahomes will only play well when the attention is on Brittany and Jackson.
Oh, dude, Brittany would love it if Taylor didn't show up. It's that whole Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan meme.
Instagram meme where Taylor Swift is talking to Brittany Mahomes, and Brittany goes like this, and it says like Taylor says, "Why does your husband keep throwing the ball to the other team instead of Travis?"
I didn't see that, but the most notable meme I see is the whole. You heard the Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding scandal, then ice skating. So basically, Tanya Harding hired like a hit man to like injure Nancy Kerrigan before a meet. So there's a picture of Nancy Kerrigan stretching and Tanya Harding's lurking in the background, and Tanya Harding's Brittany Mahomes, and Nancy Kerrigan is Taylor Swift.
That's kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie.
It's really funny.
Jeez.
That's wild.
And on that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Excellent way to close out the stream, Matt.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully we get a Vikings dub next week. And as always, SKOL Vikings. We'll see you
SKOL
guys
Vikings.
next week, Wednesday.
See you next week.